Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today, I come to you with some sad news. Kind of a bummer of a day here, because it looks like we are losing one of the truly great leaders of our generation, a very important and powerful man, a true giant among men, a legend in their own time. Or at least that's how they feel about themselves, I'm pretty sure. In real life, they're just kind of a lecherous, narcissistic, bullying mafioso posing as a politician. And not just a politician, but the worst type of politician. The type of politician that's willing to exploit other people's tragedies to further their own career. The type of politician that's willing to destroy people if they get in their way. And of course, I'm talking about Andrew Cuomo. Now, a lot of people might say this is fairly petty of me to be taking glee, and it is glee, I'm giddy, in the fact that Andrew Cuomo is pretty much had his political career ended today. Even Biden is calling for him to resign because he apparently can't keep his lecherous paws off of female staffers. He feels he's important enough that he can just impose himself on whoever he wants. And he feels he's powerful enough, if they do anything about it, he'll tear him down. But today, that kind of came crashing down around him when an independent investigation found that at least 11 women are credible when they say he has done inappropriate things with them sexually, suggestively, and also that he has abused his power in making sure he can continue to do things like that and targeting people who would dare speak against him. Like I said, mafioso parading around pretending to be a politician. I hate Andrew Cuomo with a passion. Always hated Andrew Cuomo with a passion. I don't care what he did. I don't care if he jumped in a lake and saved 50 puppies by himself. I'd still be like, ugh, wash those puppies. They were touched by Andrew Cuomo. That would be my reaction to the whole thing. But like I said, a lot of people might think me petty to be taking glee out of this, but this guy is one of the worst anti-gun politicians out there. He's worse than the Giffords and all those people. At least they actually suffered tragedy. Giffords did, even Feinstein did. You know, we've all heard the Harvey Milk story. So at least they suffered some tragedy that could maybe explain their twisted thinking before they became, profiteers off of their ideas. Cuomo's nothing like that. He just saw, hey, gun violence is an issue. Here's people that have suffered from gun violence. Let's exploit them to gain power. And even when the trap was about to close on him a couple of weeks ago, when he knew this report was about to come out, that he is a lech and a criminal, when this report was about to come out, he decided, well, what can I do to make news that might overshadow the fact that I'm a disgusting scumbag who likes the smell of my own farts? I know what, I'll do something really crazy like say, people can now sue gun companies for things people do with their product. That was what that was. That was just a way for him to try to draw attention off one aspect of his career and draw it to another. It was also to try to take away attention from the fact that he caused a lot of people to die during the COVID crisis by shoving them into nursing homes where he could undercount them and be like, oh, people die in nursing homes every day. We're not counting those. Anybody gets COVID, send them to a nursing home, and then we can pretend they died of old age. So he's had quite a few little snafus as of late. And this is history of his career. I mean, he's always been a bully. He's always been self-important. He comes from a family of self-important people. And he's basically a scumbag. And he's a scumbag, like I said, that is anti-Constitution, is willing to trample the Constitution, is willing to destroy anybody that gets against him just to solidify his own power base. So I've always found him to be not only a disgusting politician, but a disgusting person. The worst type of politician there is. Like I said, he's just a fucking gangster in a suit. He'd look more appropriate in a tracksuit with a bunch of gold chains. That would be more representative of what kind of person he actually is. So, yes, I take great glee in the fact that this is going to end his career. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, this won't get him, this won't get him. It'll get him. Al Franken got for a lot less. Democrats are very unaccepting of people violating women in their party. They go after them hard when they do. They've shown that time and time again because, they're the woke party, so they got to do that. But this guy, he's just disgusting. That little smarmy press conference he gave the other day saying this suit and this investigation, it's being too rough on my female employees and calling them basically that they're too rough simply because they're stern and they're strong and that they wouldn't do that if they weren't. That's so fucking, oh God, it was so lame. He was trying to deflect and try to make it look like the people that were going to come out and accuse him of basically sexually molesting people, they're the ones that are anti-woman. So transparent and so weak. I mean, that's all he had. So I am very thrilled to see this happening. And I think most people out there that are gun people should be thrilled to see this happening. Like I said, one of the worst anti-gunners out there. One of the worst politicians when it comes to gun policy I've ever seen. Because like I said, he's never even experienced any tragedy. He's just willing to exploit the tragedy of others. He's willing to exploit bad situations like rising gun violence to try to cover for his own crimes and to try to increase his own power. He's the type of person that'll break your legs if you talk. That's just the kind of person he is. And I'm glad to see him going away. Because the nursing home thing wouldn't have gotten rid of him. It wouldn't have. And that's pretty sad that you could basically get found that you murdered people and then lied about it to the American people. Just to make yourself look like you're a better mayor than you are, not mayor, but governor than you are. So glad to see him go. I don't feel the least bit sorry for him. I do feel bad for the women that this grotesque bastard put his ugly hairy mitts on. And I'm someone who always says, when women say they've been mistreated and they've been molested, when they've been taken advantage of, listen. I don't say believe every woman. I've known too many to lie. I know, a woman lying, in today's culture, that's almost impossible to believe, but sometimes they do because they're people. But listen, especially when they're in circumstances where it could be likely happening, listen. And if they're found to be credible, believe them. And luckily, the Attorney General of New York, I believe that's what her title is. I forget her name right now. But she listened, and she found him to be credible. And she found him not to be credible. And she also went on to say his brother, Chris Cuomo, is complicit in all this, that he has helped him beat the raps and try to do things to distract and try to do all the shit that I've said he's doing. So Chris Cuomo, CNN, if you're listening, should be at least taken off the air for a while, possibly fired until you can find out whether that's true or not. If you've got any credibility, any journalistic credibility whatsoever, you'll take him off the air until you can verify if these claims made by the Attorney General of New York are true. If he was involved in this, he needs to be off the air. But just dealing with Andrew Cuomo right now, I'm just glad to see him go. Like I said, listen to women and believe them if they're credible. I believe these women, because I don't find it hard to believe. Because he just reeks of that type of person. And he's the type of person that everything you see him do, he does in a way that is the sleaziest possible way to do it. He just oozes sleaze. And I'm not saying there's not lots of Republicans that ooze sleaze too. There are, a lot of them from New York. But this guy, he takes the cake. He's someone who feels he deserves power. He deserves to be over people. And he's not unwilling to, like I said, capitalize on a crisis, a tragedy, whatever, if it serves his interests. And he has been a strong opponent of the Constitution and our Second Amendment rights for a very long time. That's one of his soapbox items that he loves to harp on. And he has been a great enemy of the gun community. And I'll tell you what, I will not apologize in the least for being absolutely thrilled that he is finally getting his. All right, everybody, I want to move on here, get that bad taste of Andrew Cuomo out of our mouth, and say, here's some actual decent news. The McCluskeys, if you remember them, they're everybody's favorite Charlie's Angels impersonators here. They have been pardoned by the governor. Now, they did plead guilty. They'd already been convicted, pled guilty of these charges that were brought against them. But now they have been pardoned. Not just have their sentence commuted, because they didn't get any sentence. They've been pardoned. It's like it never happened pretty much now. So I want to say that's pretty good news. Now, I am not going to say that they made the smartest decisions. I haven't said that throughout my coverage of their what happened to them. I said tactically what they did wasn't very smart. A lot of people out there, if a couple of them had guns and saw them coming out with guns, could have easily picked them off from the crowd before they even saw where the fire was coming from. And then they'd be placed in a situation where they're firing into a crowd of almost entirely unarmed people to defend themselves. So they put themselves in a bad situation. They should have stationed themselves in an upper window and guarded their property. And I will say, I am not in any way supporting that anyone has a right to just go out and point guns at someone in a public street when they're engaging in their lawful right to protest. But you do get to if you feel threatened. If you legitimately fear for your life or your safety of your property in a lot of states, you have a right to respond. And based on the fact that a lot of these protests, now I'm not going to lie and say, oh, all of them turn violent. It's only a small percentage of them that ever turn violent. But you don't get to pick and choose which ones turn violent. And when it comes to your neighborhood, you might be real cautious, real worried. I have no problem believing that they felt unsafe, that they felt threatened. And they didn't go out shooting. They just said, don't fuck with us, don't come on our property. So I don't think what they did was the smartest thing to do. But I also don't think they broke any laws or committed any crimes. So I'm glad to see them pardoned. So for everyone out there that's been following this story, it's had its ups and its downs. And when they pleaded guilty, a lot of people got upset. And I was like, dude, this is not your decision to make. And plus, I think they made the right decision. They're lawyers. They knew what they were doing. But now they've been pardoned. So, like I said, now it's all over. All right, everybody. Now I do want to move on to an actual serious note here. And I need to make a little announcement. And that announcement is, hello, I am the Yankee Marshal, and I am a gunaholic. I don't think that's a secret. I don't think it's going to surprise a lot of people. I mean, if you've followed me for a while and you've seen my behavior, you know I don't really have a lot of control over my actions. It's an addiction. It's an illness, really. You should be praising me for standing up and admitting it right now. Not condemning me for having no self-control, which I know a lot of you are doing right now with your accusing stares. But I want to say, I know I am a gun addict. I don't need any more guns, but I want them. But I'm going to come here and I'm going to make a pledge. I'm going to cure myself. I'm going to get clean. Oh, not forever, of course. That ain't going to happen. But for 6 months, I'm going to pledge here and now that I'm not going to buy a new gun for 6 months, and I want you all to hold me to that. Now, I know most of you enabling bastards are going to just start sending me links to cool guns and stuff that come out, or things you think I might like, because you're assholes, a lot of you, enablers. The gun addiction has some of the worst sponsors. I think most of the sponsors work for Smith & Wesson or something. Because every time someone comes to, like one of our friends who has a gun addiction comes to us and goes, dude, I don't know why, but I want to buy another gun. I don't need it, blah, blah, blah. We're like, well, yeah. I mean, I can think of 10 reasons why you should buy it. Because we're horrible people sometimes in that way. But like I say, I admit I have a problem. And for 6 months, I'm not going to buy a gun. And I want you all to hold me to it. Now, I guess I could just go buy a gun and lie. But, I don't like to lie to you. And I'd have to show you the gun anyway because that's part of the addiction. What good is it if you don't show it to people? If you don't show people you got a new gun, did you really get a new gun? Does it really matter if you don't parade it around into people's faces? It's like having sex with someone but not telling them. It'd be like making out with Christy Brinkley in the 80s and not taking a picture. No one's going to believe you. And if you don't tell them, how do people know you're a stud if you don't tell them? But that's kind of the way it's going to be here. I'm not going to buy a gun for 6 months. Now, the real reason I want to do it is because I want to trade my car in 6 months, and I need to save some money. because I don't want to be upside down when I traded it in. So I need to save some money for a down payment. And if I keep buying guns, I'm not going to. Now, I do have one gun on layaway that I got to pick up. That was the mare's leg I told you about. That's already done. But that's the last one for a while. It's just like, how drinkers, this is my last beer. Okay, now I'm just going to drink whiskey. But no, I'm not going to buy a gun. Like I said, 6 months. I want you all to hold me to it. We'll see how well I do and see how jittery and anxious and angry I get by the end. But like I said, I want to save money because, and I know this sounds stupid, but I kind of want to trade my Mini Cooper in for a Camaro 2SS 1LE. And I know the Cooper's a better car in every possible freaking way, except for the roar and, the roar, the sound, the taking off, that's the thing that the Camaro beats it at. Everything else, the Mini's a superior car, but I want to buy a Camaro. And it's going to be, at least $5,000 above what my normal limit is. My normal limit's $50,000. And the way I budget my cars and the money I put down and the way I pay extra my payments every month leaves me to where at the 1 year mark, I have a good down payment in the car I own now. When I trade it in, I get at least $10,000 more to put down on the next car. And so I can pay heavier payments on it and trade it in. But that's not the story here. That's why I want to save money, because I want to get the Camaro. And I might do a little video talking more about that later, just for the car people. But because of that, like I said, I'm going to admit to my problem, at least for now, and I'm going to stop buying guns for a while because I need to save that money and I want you all to help me. So hold me to it. Remind me, don't buy no guns. And if I do buy a gun, ridicule me and make me get back on the straight and narrow. So that's my announcement for tonight. Like I said, hopefully you will come along with me on this journey of pain and self-denial, because I'm going to be denying myself gratification. It's kind of like, a purchasing version of edging, except there's no pleasure involved. So maybe that's a bad analogy. But like I said, come with me on this journey. I hope you'll help me out as we go, and I hope you won't sabotage me, because I really want that Camaro. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back again tomorrow. Until then, I'll sign off as I usually do by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it is what it is. It could definitely be a lot worse for us here in America. But it could still be a little better. And if we as a community start to ignore the fearmongers, the profiteers, the fake activists, the people who just want to line their pockets and serve the industry that lines their pockets, helps them line their pockets, if we start figuring out where those people are coming from and stop listening to them, what things will be for people who love the Second Amendment and freedom in general in the very near future is better. Damn it. I am a grown-ass man.